薄いのアホ。
プリズムパワーメイクアップカードレディー。
Welcome to Shojo Tell, where we discuss shoujo manga and tell who's hot and who's not, talk about themes, and just generally geek out. Today, June 5th, 2019, we'll be shoujo telling about volumes 9 through 18 of Ouran High School Host Club by Bisco Hatori, so that's the second half of the series. I'm your host, Ashley McDonald, and I'm joined by Rose Bridges.
Hello, everybody.
And Aisha Soleil.
Hey, y'all. That was great, by the way. You did that.
I know, I read your Twitter, but I was like, I've got it this time.
I had that thought. When I changed my Twitter name, I was like, I bet you Ashley's going to see this.
I know, I was like, I feel so good about this.
Yes.
It's so helpful to me.
Yay.
Yay. Hey, so this is editor Ashley jumping in from the future to apologize for the audio quality in this episode. It is worse than the first episode because we had a bunch of scheduling snafus and some Wi-Fi issues. So apologies for that. Hopefully you still enjoy the discussion. So we will proceed. Okay, so I'm just going to assume that everybody has listened to the first Ouran podcast because that would make the most sense to me. And just give the immediate spoiler warning. This is about the end of a series. So if you haven't read the end of the series, you probably shouldn't listen to this podcast. If you've only watched the Ouran anime, you won't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Not at all. I'm pretty sure. So don't do it. I mean, you do you. I don't know. That's fine. But I don't advise it. It's basically the conclusion. So we're going to start off with a question that actually is about the anime that we would have put in the first one, but it came in afterwards, but we'll answer it now. And then we're going to jump. I feel like this podcast is going to be like 80% shipping corner, just us ranting about, oh my God, they're so good
Yes.
and cute.
Yes.
But, we'll get there. Okay, so this question came from @BlueSocket on Twitter, which was, how did the adaptational changes the anime made, softening jokes, character beats, etc., affect reading the manga? Did it affect your reading of the manga at all, either of you?
As someone who hadn't read the manga before, I mean, it is kind of tonally different from how I expected based on the anime, but I mean, that was the case with the earlier stuff too. And I generally liked the tonal differences in the anime for the earlier stuff better, but I ended up really, really liking the second half. I don't know. It was weird because in the early part of the manga, it felt like all comedy and there weren't many dramatic beats, and that was something that I really appreciate about the anime. But then I think the second half of the manga really well executes its own movement toward more dramatic material.
Yeah. For me, I feel like the only thing is that I kept being like, Kyoya likes Haruhi, which was the thing that happens more in the anime, I guess. And then I'm like, no, the manga doesn't sell me on that at all. It doesn't care about that. It tries to care.
It sort of brings it up at the last minute, and I never really thought that he did.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys know my thoughts about Kyoya, my headcanons, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I started reading the manga before I ever watched the anime. And it's been a long time since I watched the anime, so I can't really answer this question because I don't necessarily think it affected my reading of the manga because I haven't watched the anime at all in a long time. So like I watched it, like after I think I didn't watch the anime until after I had already read the manga the first time. And so it didn't really affect the reading of the manga for me.
I feel like the second half of the manga is really good, sort of continuation. Like I feel like you could basically like jump in at volume 8 or 9 after watching the anime, and it would make sense to you. I feel like it continues that story really well.
Yeah, no, I think definitely, if you've been waiting for that Ouran season 2, just like read the manga. I don't know.
Yeah, because there aren't really a whole bunch of differences, in my opinion, in terms of tone and character beats and stuff. I feel like the anime actually adapted that pretty well with just some slight changes in the humor and slight interpretations of the characters, like the Kyoya liking Haruhi thing. Although, I mean, like, my reading of him comes from watching the anime, so, but yeah, like I definitely, that's something that comes across more in the anime than the manga. But like just small stuff like that, I don't really feel like there's a humongous difference. It's not like something like, I don't know, Full Metal Alchemist, where you have to explain all the differences. If you watch the original anime versus the manga or Brotherhood.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't think that it's confusing. I've definitely had these arguments like on Digimon podcast. They're like, no, if you watch the English version, how can you even watch Try? Like Digimon Try came out and they're like, it's only in Japanese. I'm like, it's fine. They're not like that dissimilar. Calm down.
It's a kid's show. The characters are never, I mean, I love Digimon, but I feel like the adventure characters are never that super complex to begin with.
Yeah, right. I'm like, calm down. You'll be fine.
As much as I stand Izzy, but you know, for another time.
Yeah, some other time we'll stand Izzy. Now we're standing Kyoya.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like nerds. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah.
Same. Same. I literally married a nerd, so I'm like,
oh yeah.
I'm so here for the nerds.
Well, I'm getting a PhD, so I think I'm pretty nerdy.
You're just like a nerd. Yeah.
Like
we're on a
queen,
Shojo
honestly.
Manga podcast. But yeah, so the other question that they asked was just generally, how does the ending hold up? And for me, okay, so actually I reread a review that I had written like 5 years ago on like Goodreads, but not Goodreads because I don't use Goodreads. I like imported it to a different site. And I read my thoughts and I was like, I mostly agree with my thoughts, which were that I thought the stuff with Tamaki's trauma and everything, not that it drags out too long, but more that it like the trope of Tamaki not knowing what's wrong with him, but everybody else being in on the game and the audience knowing, and like that was frustrating. Like, I didn't feel like it was pulled off well, and they like talked so much character to character about it. I was just like, oh, we're over it. Like, move on. It's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to hammer this over my head like this. It's whatever. So like those volumes were really hard, but it like really sticks the landing in the last 2 or 3 volumes. Like the very end of it is really, really great in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. I had been kind of told what the ending was, and I thought it sounded really silly when I had heard about it, like on paper. But actually reading it in the manga, I really loved it, and I thought it worked well. And the whole thing where they end up moving with her to Boston was, you know, actually I really liked it because I like the fact that the host club stays together and they keep fighting all the things that conspire to keep them apart, and they keep uplifting this found family of theirs. The only thing I wanted more is I wish they could have been like walking around Boston or something, because I used to live there.
Yeah, I'm like, y'all, I need to see you go outside and do adventurous Boston things, because I don't trust that you're not just like hanging out watching movies.
You go take those selfies in front of Faneuil Hall. I want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I loved seeing them go to Boston. The whole trauma thing, the only thing that I did kind of find funny was I guess the joke that they were using with the Japanese language. Although I don't speak Japanese, they were saying like, what was it, like Torarama or something like that? Like two words that go together, like a word for tiger and a word for horse, I guess, or something like that. Yeah. That was funny to me. Despite the fact that I don't speak Japanese, I thought, I forgot about this joke. That's clever. But otherwise, I really thought the whole like, oh, I don't understand what's wrong with me. Like, I already think Tamaki is dumb. So like dealing with that, I was like, okay, you really can't be like this dense. It's a little much. But other than that, like the whole scene of them like helping him get to see his mom and just all of that, I loved it. I loved the just over the top drama, and it was, I loved seeing them like flaunt how much money they had to be able to have all these like helicopters. Yes, that is wealth that I will never understand.
That chase to the airport reminded me a lot of the final episode of the anime. It makes me wonder if she sort of, since the anime happened before that, if she sort of like wanted to do something like that, since it's really clear that she really liked the anime. Because the final episodes were anime original, and they had to do with some girl trying to take Tamaki away, and there's a big chase after him when there's an almost kiss, and the fact they don't kiss makes me really angry between Tamaki and Haruhi. It's such a fake out. Oh my god. But yeah, so that reminded me a lot of that, especially the whole like, well, we have this, and I also liked that Renge got to play a big role in this because I felt like she kind of got neglected in the second half, and I heart her, as you guys know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she totally did until that moment where she with the boat and everything.
With her otaku boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
I love her boat that she takes to go to Comic-Con. I was just like, you are the best.
She's a queen, honestly. I'm like, yes, I love you so much.
Oh, Renge.
Yeah, so wait, if you were mad that Tamaki and Haruhi didn't get to kiss in the anime, you must be thrilled by this ending.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I was just like all the stuff. And I loved the whole portrayal of the way they got together and like how incredibly awkward and clueless they both were. And one of my favorite parts was the quiz that May gives Haruhi, because that was the magazine quiz, because like I totally read a lot of stupid magazines when I was a teenager and did so many of those stupid quizzes, and so that like really hit home for me.
Yeah.
Also, I loved May, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, me too.
I forgot how great she is. She's such a good friend. I love her.
And it's so nice for Haruhi to have a female friend, which I think is a thing that's often kind of lacking in stories like this. And like I felt like sometimes early in the manga or in the anime that she could come off a bit like cool girl-ish. And so it's nice to have her not only have a friend, but have a super girly friend who's nothing like her, except that they're, you know, both nice people and they get along. And so that was great. It made me like Haruhi all the more.
I agree. I was a little bit worried. I think when May is first introduced in like the first half of the manga, I was worried that she was going to be, you know, a rival. Because I remember the first time I read it, and I hated her for like that first half.
Yeah.
And,
she was a bit annoying when she was first introduced.
Right. Because she was like, I want to hang out with Tamaki. And I was just like, girl. He's spoken for. You know, he doesn't know he's spoken for yet, but he is. Back up.
And the person who's spoken for him doesn't know that she's spoken for.
She doesn't know yet.
She doesn't know, but we know.
But she gets, she figures that out quickly, and then she becomes just a cheerleader for them to get together, and it was just great.
So great.
And I also like that she's not just girly and likes clothes, but that she's into making clothes. And so like she has an actual passion around this, and it's not just being a mindless consumer like characters like that are often portrayed. And so she's just great all around, even if she does need to wear less makeup.
Yeah. she looks like the Ganguro girl.
Yeah, I think she's a Ganguro girl.
Yeah, which is fine. It's just so fun. Like it's funny seeing it portrayed in like manga form, because it doesn't look as cute as it does in real life. Like I think it's cute in real life, but on paper and not in color, it looks a little strange. Her lips. Her lips look like a blow-up doll. Like that just kept distracting me. So bad.
Yeah. No, wait, isn't she on one of the covers? And I was like, who even is this? Is this female Tamaki? What's going on? She's
on the cover for volume 10, and which is the volume she gets introduced in. So
yes,
I was confused too. I thought it was Renge. I was like, when did Renge get a tan?
Oh, nice.
Right.
And when did she become a blonde?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm looking at it now. I'm like, I was like, is this female Tamaki? What's going on here? I don't understand.
All these years. And like, it took me rereading it to realize like, oh, that's May.
That's May. That's what May's supposed to look like, you all.
Right.
Also, I like when she's talking about souvenirs, and I hope she gets to visit Haruhi at some time in Boston, because there is some great shopping on Newbury Street, and she would love it.
Yeah. Oh my god, I would love for them to have a party in Boston. Just like
somebody write me that fan fiction about Haruhi and May going shopping in downtown Boston in the Back Bay.
You're making me want to go visit downtown Boston.
It is pretty good. I miss living there so much. Oh my god.
Wow, Ouran really did make all your dreams come true. Your favorite characters just like went to one of your favorite cities.
I kind of want to go shopping with May in Boston. I'm not.
I know, right?
Yes.
That's what we really want to happen. Yeah, but just generally the ending is like really cute.
Yeah.
I cried at one point.
I cried so much.
You cried multiple times.
I didn't cry. I like felt like crying at many points. I had so many internal feelings.
In all fairness, it's a week before Aunt Flo comes to visit, and I'm super emotional. And so I was reading certain parts and just like crying and hoping that none of my kids walked out into the living room and saw me like bawling.
Manga. No, I'm just a sucker for like social class strife stories. So when Tamaki's grandma was like, you can't be with Haruhi because look, she got kidnapped and that was your fault. And Tamaki's like, you're right.
It's
just
like
no.
salt in the wound, man.
I know. I'm like, no, don't say that to him.
But, you know, I loved that they redeemed the grandma in the end because it like would have been so easy to just like write her out of the story. And that's what I was expecting them to do. And so the fact that he was taking her side and the whole conflict with his dad felt like, you know, kind of contrived. But then they end up, you know, sort of allowing them to all be a family together. And she and Tamaki have this weird breakthrough about like old TV dramas. So, yeah. And so I was just like, I love that.
Yeah, no, that was great. I think that Ouran did a lot of subtle things because even though I cried at the like one instance where it was like social class drama, in the end it was like, oh no, we're fine with you dating Haruhi. Like there was no like, oh, her name isn't big enough thing that went on. Right. They're like, this is fine. And I was like, thank you, Ouran. That's so nice.
So good. I actually cried. I'm such a baby. I cried when he was when Tamaki like confronted his dad and like his dad realized that like all this time he just wanted his mom to like accept him. Like his dad was talking about how he just wanted his mother to accept him and see him as like a capable person. And Tamaki's like, I mean, I understand this, but also you used me as a pawn and I just wanted to have a happy family. I was like bawling. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. That gave me a lot of feelings as a child of divorce. I know what it's like to be a pawn.
Yes, same, absolutely same. Not trying to get into my like.
Yeah, I don't want to get into mine either. Yeah,
but same. And so like, and then as a mom too, I was just like, oh wow.
I can imagine.
I would never want to use my kids as a pawn. And so like, I was just all in my feelings in that whole part, and just like seeing how much Tamaki's dad really loves him, but like Tamaki loves not just his dad, but also his mom and his grandma. He's just like, I just want us to be a family. And I'm like, I want that for you too.
Yeah. So this question, I know that we talked about reverse harems mildly on the first podcast, but I don't think we addressed this angle of it, which was from @Pirate Ghost Hosts on Twitter. And it was just, why do you think there aren't more reverse harem stories like this one?
Well, I wrote an article about this.
Oh, well, there we go. So Rose has the answer.
Yeah. So I wrote an article back in 2015 called The Secret Evolution of Ouran High School Host Club that you can read on Anime News Network. And so what my sort of thought was that, like, so when Ouran came out, there were a lot more reverse harems. But I feel like Ouran is kind of like the apotheosis of that genre.
It was like, we did it perfectly, we're done.
Yeah, and I also think like some of the things that it did sort of led to that sort of demographic being replaced by sort of like the what I call fujoshi comedies, which are even more boy-centric shows that rely on a lot of homoeroticism between them and without the sort of central female protagonist. And I think part of it's because Haruhi is a really unusual protagonist, and that's part of why that show is so great, but she's also not as easy to replicate as the usual sort of shoujo every girl. But also I like Ouran focuses a lot more on the guys than most reverse harems do in my experience. Like they're way more centered around the female protagonist, and like Haruhi is important, but there's a lot of drama between like Tamaki and Kyoya and the twins, and even more in Honey that doesn't really involve her that much.
Yeah, it spends a lot of time with them in their own episodes.
Yeah, which I mean I appreciate because I like them all being more fleshed out characters, but like a big part of the audience for the show I think was people who are there more for the boys than were there for Haruhi. Like if you compare it to something like Hana Yori Dango or something that is way more centered around the girl and her relationships with the boys than like the boys' relationships with each other or with their families or whatever else.
That's interesting because for me, one of the selling points of this manga definitely is Haruhi, and I love Haruhi.
Me too. Yeah.
And I think that I'm a sucker for this like whole heroine hiding her like gender identity or like sometimes pretending to be a boy and stuff like that, which I feel like there are still plenty of those running around in one form or another.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think that they kind of split the genre into like, now sort of the argument is they make is like we have more like traditional non-harem shoujo romances with more strong female characters, and then the sort of fujoshi stuff is its own thing where the girls are firmly in the background and the boys are the focus, if there are any girls in the first place.
That makes sense.
Like stuff like Free, Yuri on Ice, that kind of stuff. Yuri on Ice, I wouldn't say is a comedy, but it's, you know,
it's a little
the magical boys anime.
Yeah,
that stuff.
I'm like, this makes sense to me from a general sports anime stand. Like Free and Yuri on Ice are made more for like a fujoshi crowd in general, but it also applies to like why Haikyuu and Kuroko are appealing to many female fans, especially.
And I mean, not to make everything about Yuri on Ice as I often do these days, but one thing I did appreciate about that show is even though it's very firmly male-centric, the female characters that are there are really interesting, and you can tell that they have their own lives outside of the boys, which has not been the case with most of those fujoshi comedies, as I call them. Like, the girls are set dressing or someone for the female viewer to project onto, and not much deeper than that. So it is kind of weird in a way that I think the popularity of those comes out of this show that had a really strong central female character and lots of good supporting female characters. I mean, the anime only really had Renge, but we, talked about there are a lot of them in the manga, like Mei and so on and so forth.
Right.
Yeah, I love Mei. Mei is great.
and I want to talk about Carmen at one point too, because I really like her.
Yes. I'm sure it's going to come up at least in Shipping Corner, which is the whole podcast.
Can I ship her with myself?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
She's wonderful, and she's so beautiful. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. She definitely is like, she's the type. Like, she's my type. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Mine too.
I love you. Love you so much.
Oh my gosh, we have very different types, as evidenced by the fact that we had very different favorite boys last time, and so we're gonna talk about. I ran a little unscientific audience poll on Twitter about people's general audience favorite boys, and we got some responses. So okay, this had 32 votes, and Tamaki and Kyoya were tied at 38%.
Right. Yeah, not gonna argue with that.
Not going to argue with that. You're like, Kyoya should have won, but like that's pretty good tying with the main dude.
Yeah, I wish she'd won, but people I think have legitimate reasons for not loving him as a character. I mean, Tamaki's the main guy, and he's the main love interest, so of course he's going to get more focus. Also, Tamaki is just really great, in my opinion, and I love the way that he sort of develops across the course of this while still being goofy and pretty stupid the whole time.
Right.
Definitely pretty stupid.
Yes. He is a sweet boy. I just I'm not a fan of overly goofy. Like I like a little bit of a balance, although I do lean more toward like slightly more straight laced. Like I don't know.
Clearly, you like Kyoya.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be honest. When I thought I was into guys and I dated them, Kyoya was 100% my type. So that's part of this too.
Exactly. I mean, full disclosure, like I've said this in real life. I don't know if I've ever actually announced this in like the internet world, but like my husband is like literally the only man I'm interested in. And so I have a tendency to like, my type tends to be characters or men who are similar to my husband.
Yeah.
Like your husband Kyoya?
That's really
right.
That's really cute.
Yeah. But otherwise, like I'm not interested in men other than that, which sounds so like strange. But actually, there was a side story about Haruhi's parents, and
I don't think it's strange. I know other people like that too.
Oh, it's good to know that I'm not like a weirdo because I'm like, That's so interesting. Like literally, I have no interest in men outside of my husband. So it's very much like I feel like
this is such an interesting group to be reviewing Ouran.
Right? Like connections, because I connect to Haruhi's dad a lot because you know, like his wife was like the only woman that he loved, and I'm just like I relate so much. Like I relate to that feeling so much, and it was just so nice to reread that side story and like feel seen. Like I felt seen. I mean, obviously, you know, like I identify as a woman, and I was born female or whatever, but I still felt seen. Like,
yeah, I mean, you know, one of the things I really like is like, because I've always been I don't know if I want to say tomboy because I'm always terrible at sports, which is another thing I have in common with Haruhi, so that's nice.
There you go. Yeah.
Masculine of center girls who suck at sports. That's always nice to see. Well, yeah, so I always identify with that aspect of her too. And, you know, for me though, it was often and continues to be a reason that men aren't really interested in me, except as friends. And so, which I'm fine with now, but when I was a teenager, this gave me a lot of angst. So it's neat to see her and like as someone who like I think genuinely reflects what girls like that are like and isn't just some like cool girl fantasy. Like she can be really gross when she wants to be and weird, like, you know, like the thing where like when she's no longer in the host club, she's like, I don't have to care about my appearance at all. Right. She comes in with like bedhead, which I could never do. I'm protective of what my hair looks like.
Same.
Yeah, so that's something that I thought was really funny about her. But yeah, I was like relate, even if not in that specific instance, because I care a lot about my hair.
I can feel this. Now that I work from home in particular, I've definitely just been like, I only brush my hair like twice a week. Yeah. And I'm like, I feel you, Harry. I get it.
I mean, I'm growing a second set of locks, so I don't comb my hair at all. But I do wear a lot of head wraps and hats because I'm very sensitive about how my hair looks. Like, I need it to look decent, you know? And so if it doesn't, a hat is going on my head. So there were times that I'm like, Haruhi, you could at least put on. Like,
you're like, Haruhi, get it together.
I have like really thick, oily hair where you can just really tell if I haven't taken a shower as recently as I should have. So I'm like very particular. And it also tends to get frizzy. And like, you know, I'm very particular about making sure that I don't look that way.
Right.
Unless I'm at home all day, then I'm like, I don't care. No one's going to see me.
Okay, so Tamaki and Kyoya tied, but obviously Haruhi should be everybody's favorite, I think. But I feel attacked because the twins were last. I put Hikaru or Kaoru, and they only got 9% of the vote.
I warmed up to them considerably in the second half, I have to say.
Yeah, I did too. And again, like it's been a long time since the first time I read this, and I was really shocked at how much I forgot. Like there were so many things that I was like, oh wow, I didn't remember that this happened. But like I said in the first episode, the twins, I think out of everyone, have had the most like obvious character development. You know, like they went from being completely like just complete douchebags really to opening up, and I actually I kind of liked them. They're still not my favorite, but I didn't completely dislike them by the end of it. So that was
I'll
nice.
accept that.
They always felt to me like, and maybe this is part of why they were so popular in the show and manga's first decade, like they were like the Weasley twins if they were Slytherins instead of Gryffindors.
Ooh, that is nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I mean, I liked them anyway, but I like that too. That's nice.
I mean, like, okay, I feel like there were so many girls I knew in the 2000s who wanted to date the Weasley twins, and so I think they kind of picked that niche.
Interesting.
I mean, I almost wonder if Bisco Hatori like read the Harry Potter books. Like, I want 2 redheaded trickster twins in my manga because it just feels like such a specific thing.
Right.
Now I want to know, but like I never wanted to date the Weasley twins, but like definitely Hikaru and Kaoru. I'm like, I like you. You're fun.
Either of them would be either like I guess any of those 4. It would be a fun date, I think.
Yeah, they should go hang out with each other. Yeah.
You could ship opposite ends of the. Never mind.
No.
I'm glad that that's the one ship, by the way, that we all agreed we're not into, is the twin one.
Yeah, no.
Because that was so popular in the mid 2000s, and if you shipped like any of the other slash ships in Ouran, they were always a side ship, and I'm just like, no thanks, pal.
No. I like them possibly with Haruhi. Like, I'm like, I feel like Hikaru and Haruhi could like have a fun little relationship, and they would eventually break up because but like
I mean, and I also feel like just unlike the other two popular slash ships, Kyoya, Tamaki, and Honey Mori, like there's nothing in there to suggest to me that the twins like each other in that way. Like they just seem to have typical sibling angst, particularly twin angst, about sort of like they've always grown up together and they're similar, and like having to find their own ways in life. Like it seems to me like the whole thing they do in the club is very much an act. I feel like it's very much confirmed. So I've never really got, shipping them.
Like they're really good at that act.
Yeah, but it is clearly an act. Yeah, like whenever they're not performing for somebody, you don't see any of that.
Yeah, no.
Right. No, that would be. I think they have a strong like sibling bond because twins typically do, but I never got like genuine like twincest vibe.
I'm curious what the twins I know would say about it. I need to talk with Caitlin at some point about this.
Oh yeah.
She's a twin.
I did not know that.
And I have a friend in grad school too who is also a twin, and I think is an identical twin because she and her sister, I can't tell them apart. And like photos of them, like I was like, it took me a while to figure out which one was my friend Amelia and which was her sister. Yeah, I'm curious what she'd think of. I think I told she was asking for anime to watch on Netflix, and like, well, there's this one I'm going to be on a podcast about.
Like, let me tell you.
Good pair of twins in it.
Tell me what you feel about these twins. Does it resonate with your twin experience? Twins everywhere. Tell us how you feel about Hikaru and Kaoru.
I also loved if you can read kana, I loved the little mnemonic that she came up with for telling them apart. That really did work for me, where you think about the first character in each of their names in katakana, and that's it, their hair points whichever way that character does. And so I was like, oh, that is actually really helpful. Yeah. But you have to be able to read katakana to get it.
I love that explanation was like the third one she tried to give about like how to differentiate them. Like the first one, I forget, it was way back in the early ones. It was
something about curtains. And like, she herself was struggling to tell them apart.
No, I think the very first one was she was just like, one of them points right and the other one points left. And then in another side note, she was like, oops, I told you it backwards. And I'm like, oh no, you're confusing me more. And just like, then she's like, okay, wait, curtains. And then she was like, wait, kana.
And then I was still like, I still have no idea.
I still have no idea.
I was like, you still didn't help me, girl.
And then Hikaru was like, you know what? I got you all. I'm just going to dye my hair.
Right.
Yeah, which was right around when she gave that explanation. I was like, oh, thanks. That actually helps me tell them apart, but now it's useless.
Now it's useless. You just solved it on your own. Yeah. That's fine. Somehow Honey and Mori got 15% of the vote over. I don't. Y'all hurt me with this poll. Anyway, that's.
Don't blame me. I voted for Kyoya.
You put in a good fight. I guess I'll read some of the so lots of people replied about why they voted for Tamaki. So Pirate Ghost host had said Tamaki is pure sunshine. He's like a golden retriever made human, which is true. That's just facts.
Which means he could be played by Chris Evans. He's also a golden who has a Twitter account comparing him to golden retrievers. So
there we go. And they said he's just a precious idiot who wants to love and be loved.
There's an idea, Funimation. If you get an Ouran Brotherhood or something, and you need to cast somebody because you can't cast Vic Mignogna, cast Chris Evans.
Yes,
I'm sure you'll be able to afford him. I'm sure that's totally possible.
That's possible. It'll be fine. We've solved all of the problems now. And then L. Spicer Art, who was on the Phantom Thief Jean episode, said, if I could vote for all of them, I would, but settled on Tamaki because while he can be a fool, he is Haruhi's fool, so it's okay.
Oh,
that's so cute.
Facts. And then Closephine, I think that's how you say this, said Tamaki is my favorite for his naivete and his good heart. Plus intentions. Do those things go together? I guess so. Naivete, you need it to have a good heart. Oh, yeah, and they asked a question, which I guess we should answer because that's important. How do we feel about Tamaki using the host club to recreate the nuclear family he never had and casting himself plus Kyoya as the married parents, mommy and daddy?
I mean, that stuff definitely comes across funnier in 2019, the calling each other mommy and daddy thing.
It's funnier in 2019?
Daddy is a meme. Well, like, I feel like daddy is like a meme now. Like calling attractive men daddy.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't in 2005.
6 or whatever.
Yeah. But Kyoya is the mommy. Do we like agree with that? Because like what?
Yeah, what does that imply about how you ship them?
I don't know.
This isn't an explicit rated podcast, so we should just leave that unmentioned.
We should just leave that.
Right. I mean, like, I would say though, like to keep it like PG, I'm thinking of like depending on like each person's family dynamic, but like I like in my house, it would like Kyoya would be the daddy because he's the one who like is the responsible one. Because in my house, it's not me. I'm the fiscally responsible one. But I could see in some households, like a lot of the time, like the mom usually is the one that like takes care of the bills, like, or keeps the bank book, or like make sure everything is going well. And so I could see that. And usually, like the daddy is like, "Oh, I'm the fun, goofy one."
Yeah,
that's true.
like so I could see Tamaki being like the dad and Kyoya being more so the mom, depending on the family dynamic. But I think it works.
Yeah, I can be a space case too. One of my friends told me straight up, he's like, if you ever marry another woman and have kids, like you'll be the dad. Like, thanks.
You're like, I think that's a compliment.
Like,
Thanks.
Thanks? Question mark.
That sure is a comment. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense for Tamaki to think of himself as dad, I guess, since he looks up to his dad, and like I think he's trying to like be like, yeah, I'm cool and whatever. And
right.
But look, I'll be the one to keep it together this time and all these things. And I'm like, okay, Tamaki, you're a weirdo.
Right.
Well, I really like that aspect of it because I think I talked in the previous one a little bit about like, how you do a queer reading of this show and like why I think this particular series is so important to a lot of, LGBT people who were watching and reading it back in the mid 2000s, even though it's obviously extremely dated now. And I've totally seen Tumblr kids do like call outs about how you're problematic if you like Ouran or whatever.
Oh, Tumblr kids.
I don't get on Tumblr. So
yeah,
it's
probably for the best.
Yeah.
But, I think that whole idea of found family over your, biological family is a big theme in that. And it's something that shows up a lot in like queer film and TV studies. And so it did make me feel a little like the fact that I'm, taken too many media studies classes and now I read everything through these lenses. Like in the later volumes, it did kind of make me feel a little bit uneasy that it seemed to be de-emphasizing the host club and sort of like this idea that you have to grow out of that and become more a part of your regular family because of, the implications of that. Not even just in a queer reading, but just, in general, I wasn't a huge fan of the implications, but especially that, manga with queer themes has a tendency to sort of have this idea of, okay, that's okay when you're in high school, but once you're out of high school, you have to grow out of it. And so that was a thing that kind of made me a little nervous, but I think I like the fact that they kind of told him, you can have both. And Tamaki's able to have both his actual family come together and his Ouran family. And I like, and he starts thinking about, how they combine them. Like, how would the table be like once, I marry Haruhi and her dad is part of the family. And I'm just like, oh, Tamaki, you're adorable.
Right. They're like, you can just get a longer one.
Yeah, it's just, his mom's like, when are you going to tell him that he can just buy a longer one? His dad's like, no, this is more fun. This is more fun this way.
I like that he's the one who's like already mentally planning the wedding, and Haruhi's like, what? This is a little early, don't you think?
It's a little early. Calm down.
Right.
Chillax. Yeah, I'm glad that the implied wedding was like only really a flirtatious drawing at the end. I was like, I appreciate that, Bisco.
It's like the ending of Clueless. Yeah, where she makes the joke about, you can guess what happened next. And they cut to a wedding. She's like, no, as if we're 16.
Right. Yes.
And we live in California, not Kentucky or whatever. Whatever state they decided to make fun of.
Yeah. But Bisco Hatori is just like, no, of course I think they get married, but it's true, they're too young. So exactly. I do have to say that the one time that I like really appreciated both the level of humor, like I was like, this Tamaki trauma thing made me laugh, was the scene with his dad when he was sick. And he's like, oh, my dad came and kissed me on the forehead. He's like, so that's a normal like dad thing you want to do, like... right?
But like, I appreciate that because I am totally clueless about human relationships, and I've told not anything that stupid. Usually stupid in the opposite direction, but like, you know, kind of really stupid kind of thinking where you're like, well, this is how this works here, so it must be the same here. And it's like, no. People are different. People are complicated. Humans are complicated. But then Tamaki's so reassured by that, and then he kisses Haruhi on the forehead, and he's like, yeah, like a dad. I'm like, no. Not like a dad.
Yeah. I will say that I did find it very refreshing how like clueless they are and how kind of innocent they are, because I don't know, like a lot of, especially in more recent high school romance type stories, I feel like the teenagers are a little more worldly than I remember being as a high schooler.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And, and so it's really refreshing to read this and remember that, like, oh, she actually wrote them as high school kids. Like, yeah, I know there were some high school kids that were definitely getting around, but I think most of us when we were in high school were super awkward. Even if we wanted to like make out with people, we didn't really know what we were doing,
I mean, it depends. It depends. I've had friends say stuff like, oh, well, all of us were totally doing it in high school. I'm like, I wasn't.
Yeah, what? No.
But so like, it depends on the person, but like, yeah, my experience is definitely closer. And I mean, I talked a little bit in the previous podcast about how my high school experience is somewhat similar to Ouran, because I went to a school where most of my fellow students were wealthier than I was, and some of the characters remind me of specific people I knew there. But yeah, I think that's part of why I liked shoujo manga a lot when I was a teenager, was that I felt, well, YA at the time was a lot less like it is now too.
Right.
But like, I felt like, so that related to me more, but I felt like shoujo manga related a lot more to me of like how I felt as an awkward teenage girl, rather than just how some adult writer who hadn't been a teenager in 20 years thought teenagers acted based on watching media.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and mind you, I read Ouran when I was in my early 20s, and I was already married and had a child, and I was still really awkward and like and not really comfortable with like sexual themes and things. So I mean, now I'm in my 30s and I'm like, I've had 2 kids. Like I can read the smutty stuff, but like, back then it was just really nice to read something where, I don't know, people were just innocent, and not like innocent in a strange way or an unrealistic way, but just innocent in like we're teenagers and we don't really know what we're doing, and it's just nice, like seeing teenagers, even really rich ones, act like teenagers. Even Kyoya, like as
he acts like a snotty, overly logical, rich teenage boy acts.
Yes,
I know, because as I said, I went to high school with a lot of those.
Right.
None of them were as charming as Kyoya, but
right.
No, I definitely find Ouran's innocence both charming and still like, Haruhi's so fashionable. I'm like, damn, Haruhi, I wish I could look as cool as you do when you're not trying, and also when you are trying. Like,
yeah, I actually liked her in her messy. I liked her in her messy outfit.
I know,
effortless. Like,
Haruhi's making me want to start wearing brettes and stuff. I'm like, what's happening?
Yes. I actually have like a little clip in my hair, like right now
in honor of Haruhi.
Like, in a similar Haruhi style, because my hair is a similar length right now. I'm giving Haruhi vibes. At least in my head,
I just got my hair cut earlier today, and so it's not at that short. It's like the length her hair was in the Boston extra episode.
Yeah, growing it out.
Yeah, when she starts growing it out, or in the Spain extra episode. But I have bangs. Haruhi doesn't have bangs.
Yeah.
So cute.
No, I'm definitely, I probably will buy some and then I'll put them in my hair and I'll be like, this looks stupid. Be like, oh no, I can't, I'm not as cool as Haruhi. That's all right, that's fine.
I love androgyny. Like, that is just something that I love it. And so that's why she's one of my favorites, especially as far as style goes, because I love how effortlessly she can go from dressing more, I guess you could say, masculine and dressing more feminine, and she looks great both ways, but she looks like herself. Like, she doesn't look like, I don't know how to explain it, but I just love it. And I love how Bisco Hatori like portrayed her. Haruhi is great. She is who I would like to be.
I know.
Yeah. You know, she's awesome.
And I like all her little asides about all her, you know, not being able to find her remote and other silly everyday stuff.
I love that in the end, I was like, oh, it's such an Ouran twist that when she had her little, like, oh, we've revealed Haruhi's gender thing, and all the girls were like, we knew this whole time. And then a chapter later, they're like, wait, we still thought Haruhi was a boy who just was very feminine and liked to dress in girly clothes secretly. And they're like, no, what? No. I was like, you did it, Ouran.
Really that was really funny because it was sweet to see all those girls like being so accepting and being like, we still love you anyway, and not really fully understanding like what was really.
But they were still nice when they did realize she was a girl.
Right, true. They were still really nice. I just thought it was so like, I guess, refreshing for them to just be like, we don't care, like, we love you as you are. Like, you can definitely be a crossdresser. And
a crossdresser, and that's
so sweet.
I was like, yeah, you've been in love with her when she was crossdressing this whole time.
Right, exactly. Well, and I think about like the school that I went to, and I mean, being from Oklahoma, and especially being from a small town, like it would not have gone down like that. It would definitely not have been accepted. So,
I mean, that would have been accepted at the school I went to either.
Right. And especially not during that time.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So it was just nice to read that and think, oh, wow. I remember reading this back in 2006 or whatever, and thinking, wow, Japan is really like open-minded.
Yeah, I remember having that thought at the time too, and like,
right.
Nope.
No. But
doesn't really translate to like actual politics and
right. Yeah.
Well, like a lot of stuff in manga, like, you know, all those weird, like, creepy age different relationships are no more acceptable in Japan than they are here.
Yeah,
as you constantly have to argue with people on the internet.
Oh my gosh, people always the amount of people that leave me comments when I speak against like huge age gaps between like adults and teens, and they're like, well, it's acceptable. It's the culture. It's cultural. And I'm like,
no, it isn't.
No.
A quick Wikipedia search will tell you that it's not cultural. Like, it is not generally accepted there. That's why it's in manga. Like
it's a thing. It's a thing in manga the same way it's a thing in like teen TV shows here.
Right. Exactly.
Like, because it's salacious and it's a fantasy for lots of girls. Like, that's it.
Right. Exactly. People are so funny. It's cultural. How much do you actually know about Japan? Because I know next to nothing, and I know that it's not cultural, but okay.
I do have to say that I feel like the side story with Haruhi's parents does more in 16, like a beautiful, glorious gamut of like gender queerness in 16 pages. Yeah. And I was like,
I like how it's suggested that both her parents are bi, because you know, her mom's a big Takarazuka fangirl.
Yeah, and she's like, has masculine traits. She's like, I didn't need you, Ranka, to come and save me. Like, I could have beat up this person, but like, it's really cute that you wanted to do that for me.
Yeah, she reminds me a little bit in that of my mom, who is a lawyer. So,
there you go.
Or what used to be a lawyer. Yeah, technically still is, just doesn't practice. You know.
Yeah, right. She got that degree.
Yeah, like, do I have to explain to the audience what Takarazuka is? Because that reference might have gone over their head.
Probably.
Okay, so Takarazuka is a type of Japanese musical theater, I think. I don't know if it necessarily is musical, that involves all the parts played by women. It's like a specific troupe that does stuff like this. And so there's lots of ladies cross-dressing. And so it's kind of her being obsessed with that is sort of a clue to you that she's probably not heterosexual.
I would really have loved to maybe even gotten like just like a longer one-shot version of their story, because I love them as a couple so much. Haruhi's parents are just wonderful.
They're so good. I wish her mom was still alive.
I know.
That's one problem that I have with a lot of
it's like, the dead mom
shoujo.
Thing.
Yes. Why? This is not the podcast.
This is not the podcast for dead moms.
But I really wish that she had been alive, because I really wish that we could have seen their dynamic with Haruhi, because I think that would have been so cute and so funny to see Haruhi's mom like dealing with
all of this.
Yes.
See with Haruhi's mom deal with Tamaki.
Yeah. Oh God.
Right. Oh my gosh.
It was really a lot like Haruhi's dad in many ways, which is why it's so funny that he's like, I'm not going to let you corrupt my daughter.
Yeah.
Like, but he's you.
All right. Well, we got at least one reply from my friend Loyola, who's also been on this podcast before, about liking Kyoya. And she said, he keeps everyone in line, isn't a morning person, shows tremendous growth through his friendships, and is calculating. He is reserved and loyal and doesn't take any, I'll say shit, sure, why not?
Okay, I'm going to say that last night, because I haven't been in school, I stayed up, or work or anything else. I stayed up until 5 a.m. So that part of Kyoya is extremely relatable to me. Because when I'm left to my own devices, and when I'm like doing stuff like I'm doing right now, or I'm like working on an article for a academic journal and not, in a regular work schedule mode, I definitely stay up way too late and sleep way too late. So I'm with him on that. Maybe it's because of our shared blood type, which we apparently also share with Bisco Hatori. I don't know. Which maybe. I appreciate finding that out, because I was like, because in Japan, like there's a blood type personality thing that's like horoscopes, and so I have Kyoya and Honey's blood type, and it seemed to be suggesting things about people with AB blood type, and I was like, to find out that she also had it, I was like, oh, okay, I feel better about this now.
Yeah, you're like, I can accept this now. No, I think that Kyoya not being able to wake up in the mornings and being evil is definitely one of his most relatable traits for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not a morning person, so
I am so not a morning person. Oh God, I can't imagine.
Yeah, the worst is when they come in and they're like, "I'm hungry," and I'm just like, "You might lose your life."
Right? You might lose your life. Right? Yeah.
So once they become teenagers, don't they start to become not morning people?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, although I was already a not morning person at age like 8. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, my oldest definitely sleep. Like, we homeschool, so he will sleep until noon, and I'm like, oh yeah, you have to get up.
You have to get up now.
I like the suggestion in the Kyoya's future thing that he is a cat person. Like, of course he would be. Dogs really don't work if you are not a morning person, because you have to, when I've sit for people's dogs, like you have to wake up in the morning and feed them, or they get really distressed and let them out in the morning. Like, I can't do that.
You have to walk them. It's a mess. Okay, so I think we've talked about lots of general things. I don't know if you guys want to humor me by taking this gender quiz. It's pretty fun, though.
For Haruhi?
Yeah. Quiz time. All right, y'all. I've done this once on this podcast before, so some people are in on this game. But again, trust me.
The quiz is in general, or this particular one?
This particular quiz.
Okay.
It's very useful. It can be reused.
Did you do it in the...
Oh, God.
Utena?
No. I did it in the Claudine one. So this is a free online gender quiz. I tried to make quizzes happen on this show in the spirit of how Haruhi took that dumb love quiz and then was like, this must be wrong. Yes. I was like, yes, thank you, Haruhi. You felt me. You understood what I was trying to do here.
I love that. That was such a good moment.
It was such a good moment. It's so good. And then she reads like bad shoujo manga too. I'm like, yes, Haruhi. You understand. Written by Disco Hatori or whatever. Disco. Woo!
That was so cute.
So good.
Like self-drag.
I know.
Right. Yes. We
really
love
was.
a self-aware queen.
Yeah. Bisco Hatori, we love you. Anyway. Okay, so yes, so this is there's a series of statements, and you do strongly disagree, neither agree nor disagree, agree, strongly agree. We will figure out Haruhi's true gender, since it's apparently confusing. Okay, so does Haruhi frequently stand up for herself?
Yes, I think so.
Strongly agree?
Strongly,
okay.
I would say strongly agree.
We're going with strongly agree. Okay. Haruhi is considerate of others' feelings.
I'd say strongly agree.
Strongly, I don't know about that.
Maybe agree. Maybe agree.
I think that she's a little cold. Isn't that what they make fun of her for?
But she can be like, she can care about people in ways that matter, though. Like she's not someone who will be like totally selfish if it hurts other people.
Okay, we'll go with agree. Soft agree.
Yeah.
Haruhi is a natural leader.
No, I don't think so.
Disagree. Strongly disagree? Disagree. Just mildly disagree.
She's a lone wolf.
Haruhi is known for her sense of humor. No,
she's kind of, yeah.
Like, she is funny when she does not realize she's in love with Tamaki and tries to deny it really hard.
She's unintentionally funny, yeah.
Yeah.
She's more, she is sarcastic at times, but she's not, like, goofy.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Or even, like, super witty or anything. She just kind of, disagree.
She's just cutting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Haruhi considers herself brave. No.
I don't think she does. She is, but I don't think she does.
Yeah, I don't think she does either. Haruhi can sometimes be aloof or withdrawn.
Yes.
Yes.
Strongly agree.
Strongly agree. Haruhi enjoys having a large circle of friends.
I mean, she does. I don't know that she always enjoys it.
Right.
Yeah, I think by the end, like, yes.
At the end, yes.
Agree.
At the
We're going with
beginning, no.
agree. Haruhi is confident in her own abilities.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strongly agree or agree?
I'd say agree. She's not overconfident.
That's true. She's not like...
She can be self-deprecating at times.
Yeah, she does. She knows what's up.
Yeah.
Haruhi has a very logical mind.
I would say so, yeah.
Yes.
Except when it comes to Tamaki.
Except when
But that makes a fool of everyone.
Yeah. This quiz is wrong. Still the best. Haruhi is a very creative person. No.
Not really.
No.
Haruhi had that one time where she decided what the host club was going to wear, and it was the weird animals. Oh, it was the folklore ones. And I'm like, no,
that was amazing.
That was amazing. But also no. Haruhi, you missed the point of the host club. Okay. That's fine. Haruhi sometimes feels that she's experiencing emotions.
Sometimes.
That's true. She does, like, not... Like, very rarely, actually.
I'd say agree, because, I mean, it does say sometimes.
Okay. Occasionally she feels emotions, yeah. Haruhi sometimes judges herself too harshly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Haruhi is generally an optimistic person. No.
I'd say she's in the middle. She's not super pessimistic either.
Right.
Okay, we'll go with neither agree nor disagree.
Yes.
Okay, Haruhi is frequently confused. No.
Not really.
Strongly.
She's confused by the host club, but who wouldn't be?
Yeah, but who wouldn't?
Right,
That's just... She found herself in a strange situation. Okay. Haruhi's body is made of meat.
I think so.
Sure.
Yes.
Although she's also a drawing, so I don't know how that, like...
Oh, that's true. I think we should
She
put
eats
neither...
a lot of meat. She eats a lot of meat.
Okay, we'll put agree. Not strongly, but agree. Haruhi's body is made of metal. No.
I don't think so.
Haruhi's body is made of bits. If you're reading it digitally...
Yeah, I did, so...
Oh, see? So
I'll agree.
Agree. Haruhi's body is incorporeal or diffuse.
I mean, well, she is a cartoon character, so...
So yes. Strongly agree. Haruhi has questioned her gender. I think she did briefly in that one episode where she was like, oh, yeah, people keep misgendering me. I have a flat chest.
Right.
Like,
so I'd say agree.
overall, Haruhi's friends have more gender than she does.
Yes, I think so. And that's saying something about the host club. Like, that they are.
I'd actually strongly agree. They're all like pretty male.
Right.
Although there are boys who like to dress up in frilly outfits, so
That's okay.
True.
and be homoerotic. Yeah, strongly agree. Just because she doesn't.
Yeah, because she doesn't gender. Haruhi is all out of gender. Like maybe.
Yeah.
Agree.
I'd say strongly agree.
Strongly agree. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes Haruhi looks at herself in the mirror and wonders where her life went so wrong.
Probably.
Yeah, because how did she get in the host club? She's like, how did this happen? I don't know, man. Yeah, what do you
Hi,
want,
kitty.
cat? Yeah. Okay. He has opinions. Yeah.
Your kitty has opinions on Haruhi.
He does. Haruhi has been made to feel unwelcome due to her perceived or actual gender.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. Haruhi is an existential threat to organized human civilization due to her perceived or actual gender.
I don't know. I feel like Haruhi doesn't care that much.
Right.
Yeah. So, disagree.
Yeah.
Disagree.
Haruhi's body is a prison that she will one day transcend.
I think so.
Yeah, I strongly agree. Haruhi has seen things you people wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she has. Oh, yeah. She was in the host club, y'all. She saw.
Yeah.
You don't even know what opulence she saw.
Right. Oh my gosh.
This isn't even Haruhi's final form.
No, I don't think it is.
Right. I mean, she's only like what, 15 or 16?
Yeah, she's
a teenager. You shouldn't be in your final form when you're that age.
She's getting there, yeah. Haruhi's not trapped in here with you. Haruhi's like, you're trapped in here with Haruhi. Yes. Agree.
Yeah.
Haruhi is ageless and undying. Yes.
Well, she is a fictional character, so.
She is. Everything that she is on a page is all that she will ever be. Unless Hatori draws more, which, I'm fine with. Make me that Josei manga with Tamaki and...
Oh my god, I would love that.
Oh man!
Right
Tamaki and Haruhi's married life.
Yeah.
Like, make it a slice of, oh my gosh, I'm here for it.
Me too.
Okay, final statement is, Haruhi is unstoppable. Haruhi simply cannot be stopped.
I don't know.
I would agree.
I would agree, but also it seems like she willingly lets a lot of things stop her. Like a lot of the time, she's just like, no thanks.
Yeah, she's like, this is difficult. It's too.
That is true. She's like, this is too much.
Maybe we'll do the middle one.
Okay, we'll do. Okay, what gender is Haruhi? Okay, Haruhi's gender is the moon from Majora's Mask.
I got robot.
Oh, you got robot? Okay,
yeah,
that's nice. I'm glad. Okay, well, the flavor text for the moon from Majora's Mask is, your gender approaches terminus slowly before a seemingly inevitable impact on the final day. Some of the people of Clock Tower flee in an attempt to escape the collision. Some do not believe it will fall, and others are resigned to the impending cataclysm.
So here's the text for robot.
Robot's pretty good. That's pretty appropriate.
Yeah. Your gender is a machine programmable by a computer and capable of carrying out a complex series of actions automatically. It can be guided by an external control device, or the control may be embedded within.
Ooh.
Actually amazing.
Haruhi's gender is a robot / the moon from Majora's Mask.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, hard agree.
I think that's accurate.
Okay, now we have approached the time of the podcast. The most epic of shipping corners might happen because there are so many ships in this, and they're also great. They elicit a lot of feelings anyway. Lots of feelings happen. Okay, so I tried to put them roughly in the order of importance that I think the story tried to give them, I think.
Like reverse order? Because it starts with...
Right, reverse order. Yeah. So the least important to the most important. And then
I'm glad your OT3s are on the bottom.
Yeah. Obviously. So Hatori in like a sidebar, I think, was like, I kind of think Kasanoda and Mei should be a couple, and I was like, no.
I was like, okay, why not?
No, because I still actually really like Kasanoda with Haruhi.
Oh yeah, me too. I don't know. I feel like this has become a thing where I can multi-ship.
Right.
Oh, that's an OT3. Can it be Kasanoda, Tamaki, Haruhi? Can that be an OT3?
Maybe.
Okay. I'm down.
I just don't really care about Kasanoda.
That's a wrong opinion, but sure, okay.
He's an endearing boy.
He's a very endearing boy.
He doesn't give me strong feelings, but I'm like, I'm here for you, Kasanoda.
I love him. Up. I want him to have happiness.
I wish in the Kyoya Tamaki fics that I read that Haruhi ended up with him more often than with some of the other guys she ends up with in those fics.
Right.
I mean,
I like it better than some of the other, like, in terms of if she isn't gonna be with Tamaki, like, I'm a fan of it, but like, you know, Tamaki and Haruhi
obviously
forever.
Tamaki, yeah. Right. End goals here.
Plus, it would mean that she'd have to, like, I just think of Tamaki's fantasy about her being a Yakuza wife, and I just...
Oh, yeah! No, that was great.
Although I do actually think Haruhi would take to that pretty well.
Yeah, you know, that's true. I could see that. You know, I mean, okay, like, if we're...
It would hard for her to be a lawyer, I think, and also married to a guy, you know, involved in organized crime.
I mean, I don't know, this justice system here, in the States anyway, like...
I mean, Haruhi is able to pull off all gender androgyny, so why not law androgyny?
Exactly. I think she could work it out.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm gonna ship anyone with May, though, I think I would actually ship one of the twins.
Oh, yeah.
Either one. Like, I'm surprised that never, like, was a thing.
Yeah, they deserve a girl who can keep up with them and is a little messy in her own way.
Right. And they all have, like, a love for, or at least some appreciation of, like, fashion.
Yeah.
And,
that was the thing I was thinking about, is that, like, yeah, they seem like they would be most on her wavelength in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can ship her with Kaoru. Sure, why not?
Yeah, she deserves, definitely nicer of the two twins.
The slightly nicer one, yes.
Right.
I'm trying to help a girl out, okay?
Right.
Like, I like Hikaru the most, but he's
I also
a brat.
I also kind of, so I see this as a ship sometimes in fic, and I wasn't into it, but I kind of started to like, you know, if Kyoya can't be with Tamaki, I kind of like him with Kaoru. Like, they spend a lot of time together in those last few volumes plotting stuff. So it's like, you know.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
I'm down with that.
I could see that.
Yeah, Kaoru was there while Kyoya slept for hours in his bed.
Yeah, that's some dedication. Like, he just shows up in his bed. I'm like, do they want me to read this in a shippy way? Like,
what's going on here?
Right.
Yeah. Yes,
I
they
can
do.
definitely see that.
I think his voice actor also, like, so Kyoya's English voice actor, J. Michael Tatum, said in like some Q&A on YouTube that, you know, he thinks Kyoya loves both Tamaki and Haruhi, but, you know, he wants them to be together. And so he's like, you know, I think Kyoya should end up with one of the twins. And so, like, you know, I'm down with that.
Yeah, I can see it. That's fine.
And he
Not
can
sure how.
handle them.
Yeah, he can handle them, and Kaoru seems to be the one he has more of a.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
So we
Also,
can give Hikaru to
seems
May.
heterosexual to me.
Yeah.
About my headcanons.
Hikaru seems very, very heterosexual. Like,
at least the one who is like most heterosexual in the host club, which is, you know, a low bar, but
it is a low bar. But he's like he's putting in like a lot of effort, actually.
Yeah. He tries really hard.
Yeah, he's definitely like the cool boy of them.
He tries all the time in this institution.
Yeah. Okay, so then we get another silly side ship that does get a 4 coma. It's not just a. It's also actually implied in the main story, I guess.
Yeah, you know, I actually I know
Honey and Kanazuki.
I know a lot of people who don't like her because they like Honey and Mori together, and I was prepared to be one of those people, but I really liked her.
No, I liked it.
Yeah,
I did too.
And I like their dynamic a lot. You know, maybe that can be an OT3 as Honey can have her and Mori, because, like, you know, I like their sort of like opposites attract, like that she's into darkness and he's into sweet, fluffy things. Like, that's it's just so cute. And it feels like in a way that would actually work out because they both are weird and they would, you know, be into accommodating each other's weird stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked them. I liked them together.
And oh, sorry, what were you about to say?
No. I was just going to say because I don't like Honey and Mori together.
Yeah, okay. You're like, this is the preferable option.
Sorry,
cousins. I would that's totally fine, but
that's true. And these later volumes do remind you a lot more that they're cousins. So
Yeah.
Which I felt like it was something I forgot about a lot in the first half of it. But yeah, because I like how much affection that this manga has for like weirdo girls. And
That's
like
true.
she's a part of that. Mei is a part of that. Haruhi, Renge, like it really likes girls who are weird and sometimes off-putting. And so I like that, the Black Magic Club has their own weirdo goth girl who falls for honey of all people.
Yeah,
right. I think they're
like,
cute.
she's weird even by the Black Magic Club standard.
Well, I don't know if she's as weird as Nekozawa, but I like that he gets like this weird, strange goth girl as his girlfriend, like, and not just another sort of like sweet, pretty girl. Which this manga doesn't really have that many of except in background characters.
Yeah.
The girl who ends up with the sports, the
Matsuyama.
Matsu, yeah. Like she's really weird in her own way. She's like, oh yeah, he's so stupid, but I still love him.
Right.
And she's like has all her crafty little pranks and stuff. Like I love that.
Yeah, she's like less mean female version of twins.
Yeah. And she says, haha, isn't he stupid? Isn't he great? I'm just like, she just seems like she'd be so much fun to hang out with.
Yeah. She's like, I want you all to be in my jokes too, y'all. It's super fun to make fun of him. It's so good. Yeah, they were cute. But no, I like really loved the 4-koma with Honey and Kanazuki. I was like, that was like a perfect 4-koma.
Also, like the idea of their wedding and she sleeps in a coffin.
Yeah. And just him tricking her into those things. I was like, that's good. That was good.
It was so cute.
That was adorable.
That was so cute. Oh, I will actually want to read that part.
Yeah. So now I want to reread it after we're done with the podcast.
Yeah, just look at that page and be like, it was good.
So cute. Like, oh, you want to get married? Okay. Oh, they're so cute.
Okay, so the next three that I had written down are ones that we've briefly mentioned already, which were Kasanoda and Haruhi, Honey and Mori, Kuze, and Matsuyama.
I think that Honey and Mori do stay in each other's lives at some point, because I just can't see like Honey ever being fully independent from Mori. Like he needs to remind him to brush his teeth. Like,
oh yeah. That was their whole battle, was him like, I need to tell you something.
They probably like share a house and like share a bed with their wives too. Whatever. Some weird thing.
Some weird yeah.
And I also liked the younger two as sort of a shadow Honey and Mori.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm glad that Mori's brother talks a little bit more, but I like how Honey's brother is like that. Chika is like sort of like coming into realizing that he's more like his older brother than he thinks.
Mm-hmm.
And I also I just love the whole thing about Mori as like the small animal whisperer.
Yeah.
That is actually that's funny to me.
like he's this big tough guy and he loves so these cute little things.
He has his little tanuki and a chicken. Is it a chicken?
Yeah.
A
baby
chick. It was a chick. So then it became a chicken.
Which, like, I don't know. I don't think you can domesticate tanukis, but of course Mori can.
Mori can do whatever. He's fine. Oh, look! I wrote down next the person y'all definitely want to talk about. Kyoya and Nanaka, right?
Yeah.
That was her name. Yeah.
As I said, I ship her more with myself than anyone in
Okay, fair.
But I can see that pairing. I can also see her with one of the twins too, because like they share some of her interests and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, they were all into Spain.
But you should talk about why you like Kyoya and Nanaka.
So I really like them together because, and this is gonna sound, she reminds me so much of myself, like kind of this. Almost like a free, like I just want to just do whatever I want. Like I want to do what I love, and Kyoya is this very stoic person, but the way they banter with each other is so hilarious. And it makes me think of me and my husband because we talk, okay, since you said shit already once, you can bleep this out, but we talk shit to each other all the time. And it's just like in a way that people who don't know us, they're like, do you even like each other? But it's just, I loved their banter and how they were able to like just jab at each other in a way that people who don't know wouldn't even realize that they're like jabbing at each other. I loved that so much. I loved how he was there, like he was like ahead of her, like almost every step, but then she still was able to like maneuver around him. It was just great. Their banter was great, and the fact that they're kind of like opposites. I even didn't mind the age difference because usually I'm very like, but he's 18.
Well, so, and she's like just a few years older
like
than
21,
him.
like 20 or 21. So
it's like the age gap I had with my first and only boyfriend in college. He was 18 and I was 21.
Right. So it's not that big of a deal at all. And so I love them so much, and I think they would look so good together. Like I can just see them going out and like looking amazing at like events and stuff. You know, I love them.
Yeah, but I also, you know, if we're gonna match Kaoru with someone, I guess we could put like I found the idea, like I like the idea of her with Kyoya, but I feel like the twins get her more because they have like interests in common.
They're both scheming. Yeah.
But they're also jerks who can, you know, scheme with the best of them.
Yeah. They would come up with a better plan than jump out the window. But
either of those are good ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, Aisha, do you jump out of windows from second floor or whatever?
Okay, I have not done that, but I have had to break in through windows.
Ooh.
Like I've you know, I used to be a little bit of a troublemaker. I'll just put it that way.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
They're, it sounds like they're interesting stories here.
Yeah.
You should tell on another occasion.
Yeah, a different podcast.
Anyway, Nanaka gave me like, I mean, Haruhi's really cute, but she's not like, she's just kind of cute. But like the two women in this manga that gave me like, oh, Be Still My Heart feelings were Nanaka and Betty Bara. Well, I was glad to see Secret Club come back and to see her at casual wear. I'm like, oh my god!
Anyway. You're like, I love you even more now.
I want to join the Zuka Club.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah, she comes back for a hot second there. Oh, where are they? Like the aquarium on their first date?
Tamaki and Haruhi on their first date.
Yeah.
And they try to ambush Haruhi for some reason, which who can blame them?
Yeah, because they can. Because why not? Okay, so here we go. We're getting into some adult peoples now. So parents, Yuzuru and Sophie, who are Tamaki's parents. We did talk about how much we love Ranka and Kotoko, Haruhi's parents already. But are we sold on Tamaki's parents?
Yeah.
I think they're adorable.
Yeah, they are cute together, even though they also seem very different. But like Tamaki and Haruhi are very different in some ways and very similar in other ways.
Yeah. I guess we don't get to see them a lot together because drama happens.
But I hope, like, sort of with the end that they're able to be together more. Like, now that she's, you know, cured of her illness, I guess, and
she's getting there.
And the grandma seems more on board with all this stuff. So hopefully maybe she can come live in Japan with them or something if she wants to. Maybe she wants to stay in France because she seems to have a nice setup there. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I do have to say that I actually thought the execution of this whole weird rich people scheme of how the companies got all meshed together and how they hid it from Tamaki, I was like, that was pretty good for a shoujo manga. I'm not gonna lie.
It also got me thinking of, like, to bring everything back to Kyoya once again. Like, it made me think of a thing that J.K. Rowling said in reference to the Harry Potter books in terms of, you know, when she had exposition that she had to give somebody and she didn't know who, like, it would fit best their character to know this. She just knew she could always give it to either Dumbledore or Hermione because they were like the two characters who she, you know, didn't have to explain why they knew things. Like, it was just a given that they always knew surprisingly vast amounts of things. And so I feel like Kyoya is kind of that character, is that like if you need somebody to exposit, you can just give it to him because, you know, he always has like hidden knowledge and ways of knowing what's going on everywhere.
I agree.
Yeah. It was fun to watch him try to figure it out, and then like he did figure it out, but like only a day before the announcement. So like, good try, Kyoya. Good try.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't as much as like the thing he does in the thing he does in an anime, which I think was an easier thing to figure out, but he impresses his dad really well. And somebody's like, maybe my youngest son should inherit, which I feel like he's going to end up doing anyway, because Kyoya is just, from the little glimpses we get of the older brothers, is like, there's no way they're on his level.
Oh, not even close. They think they are,
They think they are.
What was the piece of media that he said? He's like, I like it because it, as a younger son, overcoming his brothers to impress his father. I forgot what it was, but it was some well-known piece of media.
I don't remember. Yeah, so this manga for a hot second tried to tell me that Kyoya likes Haruhi. Like, Honey was like, maybe you're the most oblivious of all, Kyoya. And I was like, I don't think he is, Honey.
Honey, you're wrong what who he likes.
Yeah, you're just wrong.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, no, sweetheart, no, honey. Oh, honey, no. But there was the part when I think Kyoya was talking to his older sister. And was it his older sister? I think.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
She was saying, like, oh, yes. And because she was like, oh, well, for you to acknowledge this girl, she must be great. Like, and I totally got gay vibes from that. Like, it was almost like it was like he was giving his blessing to Haruhi. Like, if he can't have Tamaki,
then Haruhi, yeah.
Like, that's how I read it, and I was like, "Thank you, Rose, for this gem."
Thank you.
Of bringing this to light, because I don't know how I missed that.
I'll talk a little bit more about it when we get to the Kyoya Maki section of the shipping corner. But yeah, I actually saw more. As much as I'm into that interpretation of Kyoya, I'm actually a fan in fan fiction of Kyoya Haruhi. I feel like they're kind of like the Harry Hermione for me, where I'm like, well, I relate to this girl, and this is one of the two guys who seems like a better option to me, and my own very logical, personality-driven lesbian way of judging male romantic guys. Like Tamaki would just be too much for me, and so like I like them a lot of the time when I see in fan fiction, but I felt like in the anime, particularly that one scene which is in the manga too, but I felt like in the anime version focused a lot more on Kyoya and Haruhi interactions. When they go to the expo and Tamaki takes his wallet and his phone and Haruhi has to help him out. Like, I felt like that gave me more the vibe where I could see, like, if you were looking for it, Kyoya Haruhi subtext. But, that just wasn't in the manga really at all. And so, like, it just kind of felt like pulling something out of your butt at the last minute. Like, oh, we haven't really talked about Kyoya's feelings for anybody, so why not? Like, it was something on her outline that she had to check off.
Yeah. No, it definitely felt... I was like, excuse me, Hatori, every scene in this second half that has involved Kyoya in any significant way is about Tamaki. Like,
yeah.
What are you talking about?
Don't try to trick us with these.
Yeah, you can't just have Honey come in and, like, explain that Kyoya is oblivious. I'm like,
not go with this no homo out of nowhere, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, come on now. But actually, the first confession that happened, the first deathly blow to of rejection that Haruhi had to deal was to Kaoru.
But he wasn't even into her, really. Or at least that's what he says. I was kind of like, I didn't totally buy it, but he does seem to pretty much lose interest and become about, cheering for his brother and then Tamaki. Mm-hmm. So, like, maybe he was just BSing it, but I don't know.
I think he was definitely confused, maybe a little bit. I think he was like, I kind of maybe like Haruhi, but then I know, like, my brother also likes Haruhi, and, like, I love my brother more, so, like, let me just see what happens.
Right.
Yeah. He went on that date with her more to mess with his brother than anything else.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the whole, like, they always like the same things, so it's like, oh, if my brother likes her, then maybe I do too. Maybe, I don't know. I just completely didn't care about the twins.
Wow.
Yeah. It just kind of felt very obviously destined to fail from early on.
Mm-hmm.
To make another Harry Potter comparison, it's like Harry and Cho Chang. It's like, oh, this is obviously the next step toward the person he's really supposed to be with.
I mean, yeah, it was interesting to watch Kaoru, like, mess up at every step of the way of what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then, from there, everybody's like, okay, we should be a little more cautious. Like, about how we approach Haruhi with the feelings and things.
I definitely think that it needed to happen for them to actually grow as people in the story, though.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
So, I mean, I'm not, like, upset about that possible ship, but I'm glad it didn't fail because I don't see it for them.
Well, sometimes you have to date people who are not your type to find the one who is. And that's sort of how I see that whole arc. But like, yeah, it also kind of forced the twins to sort of act as independent actors and look out for their own interests and not just for each other. So I think that was really important to them.
Yeah, honestly, one of the things that I like definitely misremembered was that I was like, okay, yeah, she goes on a date with Kaoru, but she's like not really in on it being a date. Like it's not super consensual. And then I thought when Hikaru asked her out, I was like, oh yeah, doesn't she say like yes just to see how it will go? No, that's not a thing. That's not a thing that happens at all. Brain. Like, nope. I just made that up because I like Hikaru. I like post made that up. Great brain. Thanks.
Well, I think that was important also in helping Haruhi realize her own feelings for Tamaki. Like oftentimes, you know, in my experience, it has taken someone who you're not interested in clearly showing interest in you to make you realize, oh man, you know, I do feel differently about this other person than I do about, you know, generic person asking me out.
Right.
Well, that's why I think I thought that she went out with him just as like, oh, maybe, and then to see clearly that, like, no, but I was like, oh, she didn't even need to go there. She was just like, oh, yeah, no, definitely no.
Right.
Yeah.
Poor Hikaru. I feel for him, okay?
Yeah.
It's fine. You can do that.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Someone needs to stand the twins on here.
I know. They get so hated on these days. Damn.
But are we going to talk about the why, like, people, like, I'm kind of wondering what this question, like, in terms of why people were so big into the twins in the 2000s and why they're not anymore. That I saw like Aisha talking about in the thread.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. What do you guys think?
Well, Aisha, you're the one who was talking about it. What's your theories?
I don't remember what I said, but but you know, I honestly I think that it's because a lot of us who loved Ouran back then, we've grown up. And I guess I can only speak for myself, but I know that like, which granted, I never really liked them, but I feel like those of us who liked Ouran back then, we've grown up and we look at them and we realize how childish they are. And they're not, it's just that dynamic and the way they act just isn't as cute. It's off-putting because it's like, wow, you guys are really mean. And, you know, and it's great to see them like grow and change, but out of all the characters, like they just have the most negative traits, I think. And it's just stuff that like I could see like teenage me being like, oh my gosh, they're so great and funny and ha ha ha. And 33-year-old me is like, no
time for this.
Yeah, I mean, like I think that's similar too. I also feel like characters like them were kind of more of a thing in the mid 2000s. It's that sort of like mean-spirited jokester type that people were more into, like both in anime and in Western media. And I feel like that's, you know, kind of soured. We as a society have soured on that for a variety of reasons. But yeah, I mean, I think it was also that like, you know, they were more fun characters if you're a teenager and you're still kind of an edgelord. My preferred edgelord is my preferred edgelord is Kyoya because he does, you know, have some purpose and heart underneath that edgelord veneer. Whereas like the twins, at least until they get their character development, are kind of just all edgelord.
Right.
Yeah.
Kyoya's mean for a purpose. Like twins are kind of just mean to just be mean a lot of the time.
Yeah, they're also like, you know, again, of the cast of beautifully genderqueer every character and like shipping people, they are definitely the most just stereotypical like meanish male aggressive
which I think was another thing that turned me off about them. Types.
But again, I really like Maid-sama, which is obviously heavily inspired by Ouran. And I like Usui, even though he's terrible. So I guess I still like this character type is the problem.
Oh my goodness. Whereas me, I couldn't finish reading Maid-sama. I think because I didn't know about Maid-sama until after, like way after Ouran. So when I tried to read it, I was like, this is way too much like Ouran, but it doesn't have that sentimental value for me. So I was like,
I like the, you know, jerk tricksters if they're also like smart and plotting and have a goal in mind. So Kyoya is more my speed than the twins.
Listen, they're the twins and Usui, their goal is get girl, and I'm like, I respect that. Because the girls like, that you want are cool.
Right. Oh man,
I have a simple brain, y'all.
Yeah. I guess so. Like to me, Kyoya is like get money, and I'm like, yes, I'm with you. Like,
Yeah.
No. I don't need money. They're all rich. What does it matter?
He also wants boy, but I don't know how aware he is of that.
Yeah, he definitely wants boy.
True.
Okay, but before we get into
that
the real ships, Tamaki and Haruhi was endgame, and they are really cute. I gotta say.
Yes. My one weird thing I feel about them, which maybe isn't a popular opinion, is I kind of wonder if they would work out long term, because it just seems like a lot of what they want out of relationships is different. But I hate thinking that though, because I love them together and they're so adorable, and like I got all the feels about all their like relationship milestones in these last few volumes. But like that's just something that kind of haunts me. It's
like, but these two can't. Their
it's
love
just
is
like
doomed.
I just like can't imagine them as like, you know, when he's all Mr. Grand Gesture and deep romance, and she's just like very oblivious and doesn't really care about that. Like that's just really hard for me to imagine working out long term when they have such different expectations. It feels like so that's like the one thing that's like sort of just like the fly in my ointment of fly in this like beautiful, perfectly scented ointment.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like, I don't know that y'all in real life would work out either like even initially or long term, but every little scene where y'all are cute is like excessively cute, and I love it. Their love confession scene is like so good in terms of like how cute it is, but also like it's very Ouran. Like there is the whole like Tamaki being like, sorry, what? I missed it. An airplane flew by. I'm just like, you jerk.
Yes.
And then, you know, them getting in the pond again. When
oh my god, I love that.
When he accidentally loses the tickets in it. And she's like, you know, we did this before. Like,
the part when he just straight up tells her, I love you. And then when they have their first kiss, I'm just like, oh my gosh.
So good.
And yeah, it was very nice to have that kiss after that stupid fake out hug in the anime. Studio Bones, what is wrong with you?
You just like lingered on that page for like 5 minutes being like, yes, this was what
Finally,
I deserved.
I don't know. I totally did. I'll admit it here.
Thank you. Because I definitely slowed down my reading at all the cute bits. I was like, yes. What's up?
I mean, to be honest, I like skimmed through a lot of points just so that I could get to the parts.
Yeah, you're like, I need to get here
like,
faster.
I want this. I want the romance.
You're like, these stupid twins are taking up too much space
yes.
here.
Yeah, I was like, stop it. I want more Tamaharu right now. I totally get that.
It was so good. So good.
I loved the scenes with them in Boston, like by themselves, where like when he was like, "But you said we would cuddle," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's so cute!" Like,
yeah.
So this is just like, I wish they would have shown them like really in Boston, because like I want them to go on like a cute romantic walk in Boston Common and see the make way for duckling statues, and I'm just like, oh.
Yes. And I think like I would have loved to be like 16 or so and like to go to school abroad and
Oh god, yeah.
you know, and like get to be there with my boyfriend or girlfriend or well,
Yeah.
at that point boyfriend, but you know,
Yeah.
I would have been
And all your
so
other boy
amazing.
toys just come along too for fun.
Right?
For the fun of it, yes.
Yeah.
Haruhi doesn't have one boyfriend. She really has 6 boyfriends.
Haruhi has a harem, so it's fine.
Yes.
She's good. I was definitely like, Haruhi, don't come to America. America sucks.
But this would have been when Obama was president, so.
That's true. It didn't suck then.
It did still kind of suck, but not
Not as much.
Not as much.
I was like, no, Haruhi, you can do better. All right, fine. You can come to America. Whatever, sure, it's cool
Boston's
here.
pretty nice and pretty blue. Elizabeth Warren is their senator.
Yeah.
I helped make that happen when I lived there. That's cool.
I love when the twins were like, Boston's in the middle of nowhere. And
Right,
Bisco
like,
Hatori is just
no.
like, total lie.
You get to New York in 4 hours from there. Another thing I very much miss about living there.
Oh, it sounds amazing.
It is very expensive, though. It's a big deal. And I mean, you have to like winter, which I grew up in Detroit, so I can handle that, but not everybody can.
Right, nope. I've been in Oklahoma my entire life. I barely know what winter is.
You're like, what's a winter? What is this winter that they keep telling me is coming? Yeah, so, okay, Haruhi could have picked a worse place to go than Boston. Boston's fine.
Oh, absolutely.
She could have been like Yuri and Ice and gone to Detroit, talking shit about my hometown.
Talking shit. That's right. Oh. But obviously the real endgame was Kyoya and Tamaki is the one true pairing here.
Yeah. Well, no,
Yes.
the real endgame is the OT3.
That's true.
Kyoya,
Tamaki,
Haruhi. Yes. But yeah, I think my read on Kyoya and that came out of watching the anime, and particularly the episode where the Kyoya backstory episode, because so much of that just reads to me in a sort of coming out story way. Like he had he was just purely living for what his family expected of him, and then all of a sudden Tamaki comes by and he has all these unexpected desires that he's focusing all his time on. And his sister's like, whoa, I've never seen you like this before. And, it reads to me very much like similar to like a, first crush sort of thing. Mm. And he's right around the right age for that too. He's like 14, I think.
Right. That makes sense.
So that episode just feels very, it's catnip if you're a Kiyomaki shipper.
I mean, I really think everything in the second half led to.
I thought that was the peak of it, and then it just kept getting better and better. Like that whole sports festival.
Yeah, the sports festival. The fact that he goes to Paris on their class trip and then does nothing but look for.
Like I think I said that on Twitter. Like very normal thing for a friend to do.
Very normal. Search frantically for their mother.
Yeah.
Man, I'm convinced that they need.
I'm super convinced.
So convinced. I love them so much together.
Yeah. I'm glad I could convince you guys.
Yes.
Even if I couldn't convince you guys on Honey and Mori, but I'm less overzealous about that than I was when I first watched the anime.
Yeah.
Right.
No, because I think Kyoya and Tamaki have that good thing where they're such a good team together. Like they bring out the best in each other, or like push each other at least. Something
Which is kind
Kyoya...
of weird that I'm saying they would go really well together after I just said like it's hard for me to imagine Tamaki and Haruhi long term because of their different expectations. But I don't know. For some reason, I can see Kyoya putting up with that long term a little bit more. I don't know why.
Well, I think because Kyoya, I think the problem with Haruhi is that Haruhi is also a little bit oblivious.
Yeah.
And so Haruhi doesn't understand as well what is going on, I feel, when Tamaki is like, oh, we haven't hung out because I've taken 10 days to plan the perfect date or whatever. And Haruhi's like, can we just go to an amusement park? What's up? Whereas I think Kyoya sees through all dumb things that Tamaki does and is just like,
he's just like, oh, whatever.
Tamaki, you're being dumb.
Yeah. He's better at putting him in his place and getting him to calm down a little bit, but I think he also kind of secretly likes it. Where it's like Haruhi, the issue I have with it is that I see a lot of myself in Haruhi's sort of blasé attitude toward this stuff, and I feel like if somebody on a first date with me, I mean, granted, she's been friends with Tamaki for a while, so it's not like they messaged on OkCupid a couple times, but like most of the dates I go on, but if somebody on a first date was, oh, I spent so much time planning the perfect date with you and making so romantic, I would be like, running the other way.
No, it's scary. Definitely to that question on OkCupid that's big romantic gestures or something. No say thanks. I love you after the first date. Cute or scary? I'm scary.
Scary.
Yeah, scary as heck.
No. Do not like.
But I think either Haruhi or Kyoya would get used to it after a while. So I think that's the hope with Tamaki and Haruhi.
Right.
Oh, but we could just have the three of them all together. Like, that's obviously the best option here.
Right. I mean, especially it's 2019. Like,
yeah,
I feel like we accept poly. Like we accept polyamorous relationships. So
the only question would be like, how does this work for Kyoya when he wants so badly to like make a marriage that his family would be okay with? Like, you know.
True.
Oh, well, see, this is why I'm like, you just got to keep adding more people, right? Like,
maybe he like. Yeah, maybe he has a wife who, like, maybe she's gay too, and they both have their own lives, and he gets to be with Tamaki, who's also with Haruhi, and she has a girlfriend. Maybe he marries Betty Bara, who knows?
I mean, honestly, that would be amazing.
That would be hilarious.
I'm here for all of these scenarios. Like, I'm here for it.
I just love the, like, infinite possibilities of this ridiculous but wonderful manga.
I think, like, other series, like, we've done other harem things on here and everything, but, you know, none of them have as many glorious ships as Ouran, I think.
Or maybe he does marry Nanaka and then she hooks up with Benibara on the side. That could happen, too.
Yeah. I was about to say, why wouldn't he get with Nanaka?
Yeah.
I think because Rose has already, like, claimed her.
Yeah, because Rose...
like,
I've already claimed Nanaka, you said?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was just like, when they came up, I was like, because I was still reading the last volume when you guys messaged me on Twitter, and so I was like, oh, who's she? And then she showed him like, oh.
You're like, oh my god, she's my dream girl.
Plus the Carmen comparisons. I am an opera fanatic, as everyone knows, so that is good for me too.
Oh, man. I forgot that you hadn't read that. And so if I had thought about that, I wouldn't have mentioned that.
No, it's okay. I'm fine with spoilers. And I like being prepared because then I was like, oh yeah, I'm here for this.
Yeah. It was like the best ending for Rose. Rose is like, oh, this new girl came and she's the best. Like, she's last second. All right, well, that's all of Ouran, I think. Do we have any straggling loves that we didn't mention or anything?
My heart goes doki doki for all of them.
I know.
Yeah.
We didn't really talk about Honey and Mori's arc at all.
Oh,
to the extent there was one.
I was like, was there an arc?
I guess they learned to be more independent.
Yeah, they learned to be more independent. Bisco tried to back off of them being gay for each other.
Yeah.
Mori got some animals. I think I was really weirded out by that, like, placement of that chapter where the tanuki and the chicken happen or whatever.
It just it reminded me a little bit of Nosaki-kun and its various tanuki jokes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nosaki-kun's probably influenced by maybe. Surely, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was just very strangely placed, like, in the story, like everything else had been serious, and then it was like, and here is this random episode, and I was like, no. This is like a first half Ouran
thing. They kind of like remained the comic relief throughout.
Yeah.
Even with the attempts to like be more serious about their family expectations, or you know, they have that big duel at the end or whatever. It's like it never stops being pretty silly with them, which I appreciated. Like you kind of needed, like especially when they got more serious with like the twin storyline, like you kind of needed that goofy comic relief. And I don't know how you would make Honey a serious character anyway.
Yeah, she's like these people know their place in this manga.
Right, exactly.
Like, I don't think I would have bought it if they tried to give him, like, a serious arc. I'm like, he looks like a 5-year-old and he's 18 years old. Like, I just can't.
Right. I mean, I think I even publicly said that he wasn't really my favorite. Like, he's not my favorite type of character. So I'm like,
Mori gets shipped with Haruhi a lot in fanfiction for some reason. Yeah. Usually if people ship Tamaki with somebody else, so usually Kyoya Tamaki fanfiction, it's like they put her with Mori a lot. And I was like, really?
Interesting.
Really?
I don't like it.
I mean, I guess probably they just think he is the hottest guy among the group, but whatever.
I mean,
no. But okay.
I've met people who think that, so.
I disagree with all these things, but that's fine.
If you like quiet guys.
If you like
strong
quiet guys,
silent types.
Strong silent types. He is definitely that.
Who have a secret heart of gold of liking small cute things.
He'd be a good friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'd be his friend.
Yeah, I have a friend from college who was like a really tall guy who had a deep voice and was not particularly talkative, and he kind of reminds me a little of Mori. And it was nice when we walked around downtown Baltimore together, nobody would screw with me because I had a big, tall guy next to me.
Yeah. That's what tall guys are good for.
That's what Mori's good for.
Yeah. He picked up Haruhi. Okay, he had that one scene going to Tamaki where he picked up Haruhi and they jumped through a window. That happened, right? That was a thing.
Yeah, that's his purpose is he's like the transportation, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, and he and Kyoya also get the least amount of like romantic storylines, which I thought was kind of notable in Kyoya's case. Like maybe she agrees with me about Kyoya's sexuality until that like last line. But
no, I really think I'm like manga. What? Come on.
Yeah, but like Hamori, I think it was just because he's barely a character, so he just gets. I think he gets one time he gets fluttery over Haruhi, and then he gets that maybe I do want to kiss, honey.
Yeah, those are the two things. Oh well, somebody come tell me why you love Mori, because like somebody said that they liked Mori, but they didn't give me reasons why. Just like tell me why.
I like him. Okay.
He's all right.
I liked him and Honey a lot the first time I watched the anime, and it's sort of been diminishing returns with them for me as I watch more and more and more of it, and read the manga because like there's just not much to their characters.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna say I think they're just out of all of the host club, they are the most like two-dimensional. They just don't really. Yeah. They don't get fleshed out as much, and so I'm not really attached to them.
So it's like, I think it works in the first half of the manga or the anime when like the jokes about them are still fresh, but then it kind of becomes the same joke repeatedly as you get into like the later parts of the manga.
Right.
Yeah. But they're still good comic book characters.
They're still good boys. They're all good boys.
Everybody's a good boy.
Actually, I don't know if Honey is a good boy. He's kind of a little double.
But he gets with Kanazuki's cute.
Yeah.
We like it in the end. It's all
yes.
Everybody's a good boy, even the twins. Y'all haters. Haters gonna hate. That's fine. Okay, so that's Ouran. We did Ouran. Yay! Ouran. All right. Thanks again for listening to Shojo Tell. If you have any comments or questions, or you want to defend Mori to me, or any number of comments that you can
defend
make.
Shipping the twins.
Yeah, defend shipping the twins. Please don't. But you can email shoujoandtell@gmail.com or leave a comment on shoujoandtell.com/Ouran2. And we're also on all social medias. Mostly Twitter and Instagram are the most active ones. Tumblr too. There is a Facebook. Please don't Facebook though. Okay. Rose, where can people find you and your work on the internet?
Well, you can find my book at Bloomsbury on Cowboy Bebop. Will you link to the article in this?
Yes.
So I've written a lot of stuff for ANN. I'm currently taking a break there to write an academic article for Mechademia. So hopefully that'll be accepted, and that will be out in the fall of next year, if it is, on Ikuhara anime. So the first thing I appeared on this podcast about.
Yeah, exactly.
And music. So, yeah.
Oh, is it all just going to be about Absolute Destiny Apocalypse?
Maybe.
Maybe. Yes. Okay, and Aisha, where can people find you and your work on the internet?
You can find me on YouTube at Mama Loves Manga, and also Instagram and Twitter. I have been very active on the Twitter.
I know, I've seen.
Yeah, we noticed that.
Yes,
I was like, damn, Aisha came out on the Twitter strong.
I did. I was like, yes. So, all at Mama Loves Manga. I did recently change my name to my actual name because someone was like, I feel uncomfortable calling you Mama.
I saw that. I was like, this is great.
They feel like Tamaki addressing Kyoya.
Yeah, they're like... Exactly.
So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Great. And for anybody who listens to this podcast frequently, if you have not left a rating in iTunes or Stitcher, like, please do that, because that's nice and helpful and makes me feel great, to be honest. Just like, sometimes I have to make this about me. Anyway, thanks again for listening. We'll be back next time for something that I have not scheduled yet. I really want it to be a silent voice, which would be our first shonen exception, or hot gimmick, because there's a live-action hot gimmick movie happening, so it's relevant again. Yeah, exactly. Woo! But personally, I might have to drag my friend back on to do Girl Got Game because I have a hankering to do Girl Got Game. You know, another like gender hidden manga there. So something will happen. It might not be any of those things. Who knows? It's a mystery. Anyway, until then, bye.